Weekly chatty coffee date time. Only this time it really stinks because you are on the wrong side of the country.
It is. It's really poopy.
I have tea today. What do you have in your pretty cup?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Always.
Well, it's earlier for you. It's later for me because, again, you're on the wrong side of the country. So now we're having to do this later in the day. So I have switched to tea.
It is still morning, and I am working on my first cup.
Least favorite cozy sweaters on. It is so like fall cozy out here. I was freezing and I was like, ooh, I got that really nifty sweater now. I'm gonna go throw that bad boy on before we come sit down and do our Q&As. And then of course, you guys, I mean, you can get the sweater, you can get your cup of coffee, tea, whatever you guys have going on to come join us. And here in a minute, we are going to announce the winner of our big giveaway. You guys, if you haven't watched that video already, we were talking about the digital consumption, which I think is such a big topic, but the Cadillac of lamps. Like when I first saw that, I was like, who has a $300 lamp? Like that's crazy. What does a $300 lamp do? Right? Is like my question.
Yeah.
And then I got it and I'm playing with the features and we're all in there now. I'm like, wow, it does everything. The $300 lamp does everything.
I bet it feels all sci-fi where you're like,
it does. Oh yeah. And like even our son came in there and he was like, man, if I had this back in the day with all my Lego models, do you know how great this would have been? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And he was like, man, I might need to pull out my Legos again. So I'm like, oh, cool. Now I'm going to have the 19-year-old in there on the desk because he's like, I'm building Legos now.
He'll push his sisters to the side. Move over, sisters. You can't have computer time. I need the desk for Legos.
So it is really cool. We will announce the winner and pick that here in just a little bit. But I know we've got some amazing questions because you guys all asked the best questions to go through. And I do want to say just before we get started, is it next Saturday, the first Saturday of a new month, right?
Oh, I think it is.
I think it is. Yeah, it has to. Wait.
Well, uh-oh. Did we miss it up?
No, next Saturday is the first Saturday. And so next Saturday, first Saturday of the month means, now that we officially all know where on the calendar we're at, means
time travel.
I know. Our members only live Q&A. So for those of you who join our membership group, you guys get to do this chatty coffee date Q&A with us, but we do it live with you guys. So a live stream goes up just for members. Sabrina and I will be here. It'll even be early for Sabrina, so we'll probably both have our coffees. But it will be noon that first Saturday, Eastern Standard Time, and we will get on with you guys and answer y'all's questions live where we can chit chat. So you guys just can click that join button down by my name. We'll leave a link down in the description. If you're not part of the membership, you're just going to see our last Q&A that we did for the members. So you can kind of see what the members get when we do that. But definitely come and join us for that because we have some really fun plans that we've been working on for you ladies over in the collective. So we're getting it all put together, but we will be over there next Saturday, noon Eastern Standard Time, doing our chatty coffee date live with y'all, answering your guys' questions. So, super excited. I love doing the lives. I kind of miss, we used to do a live every single Saturday and you used to join us for that back in the day, but just as a viewer. And so it's really fun to kind of get to do some of those again. But anyways, where are we starting today?
Okay. We're starting with a compliment.
A compliment? Yay! A nice comment. No, we get lots and lots of nice comments. I do know that. It just, some weeks they outweigh.
Some weeks it feels very heavy with accusations. It feels accusation heavy. And it's always lovely to begin with a compliment because why not? Compliments are lovely.
Yes, more lovely things.
Heidi, I just wanted to let you know how great I think these videos and your channel are. As a godly homemaker and mother of 3, 5 and under, your videos and inspirations, your directions, teachings are wildly valuable to me. You keep me reminded that God is in control and that I need to stay close to Him and His word. Thank you.
Oh, Well, you're welcome 1,000%. And thank you for all of that. I mean, truly, you guys have left, I don't, I wish I had the time to sit down and really get to like write y'all books for everything that I see. And I'm thankful that we have the membership group, and we have our private community, and I get to connect more with people. It is just so hard with the volume to be able to get that time. That's why we do these Q&As each week, right? So we can chat through them. But I do see so many comments, and you guys really are, you're why we do this. It's not about us. It's not about, it never has been. It's not our story, our success, right? That's never been what this is. Like, it's here to be here to serve and encourage and equip you guys. And so to hear that, I know what we pray over this channel. I know what we pray over each of you guys, everyone that this video comes across. I pray like crazy for those of you who show up all the time and are just really nasty and mean. I pray for y'all like crazy. But I know what our heart's intent and what we're trying to do in all of this is. And so to hear from some of y'all in your comments like that it's nice to know that what you were trying to do and hoping would happen is actually connecting and happening for others. And so I think to see how God is using stuff is just really, really super duper cool. So thank you for that. That really does mean a lot.
It's always nice to see when what you are trying to accomplish is actually coming across and being accomplished. And if you're only ever getting the actually comments, then you really, regardless of how tough your skin is, you feel like you're not coming across in the way that you're trying to, and that's a very discouraging thing.
I've asked my husband a million times. I'm like, didn't I repeat like 15 times this? And you're like, yes, you did. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. I'm just making sure, because I was pretty certain I said.
And as strange as this sounds, you really do have a council of people who are around you who you double check with.
Yep.
Oh, am I actually coming across the way that I'm intending to come across?
Right.
Am I actually portraying the way that I'm supposed to be portraying? But then also scripturally, am I still right? Am I still projecting the gospel and the things correctly so that I can stand accountable for my actions? You have an accountability group that we all kind of check in, and yep.
Just making sure. Not saying I'm perfect, but like, I'm really want to make sure we're staying on the right line here, guys, and walking the walk.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I actually pulled the first question. It was only posted about an hour ago.
Oh, wow. And it stood out as we are doing this question. I love that.
It did. Hang on just a second. My son's coming in. He's a lizard, and he goes and lays in the sun. So he did not know that I was starting this. And I had no way of, lizard boy, I need
to go recharge, please.
And I have to be in the middle of everywhere. So
yeah, nobody can move in your house without having to.
Yeah, we have to merge. Yeah. So I chose the question from an hour ago because it talks about the holidays. Ooh. And how this person can, if titrating is the right way, is cold turkey the right way. That's the gist of it. But I hear this person's heart, and I'm like, oh, your question. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay.
Is it just that time of the year? We do need to do some holiday stuff and take y'all's questions and put together some stuff. Yes.
So this is very long.
Okay.
But it's definitely worth it.
Okay.
Okay. So, Heidi. Hi. I just talked with my husband about the holidays. He's very open to get educated about the biblical celebrations with what we should practice instead of everything that we have known, like Christmas and Easter and the such. However, how do we approach this with our children? Meaning, did you guys ease them into it, like my husband is suggesting? Just maybe one gift this year and a little decoration, and then next year we do completely without, like cold turkey? But I don't like this. We have 12-year-old twin girls, and I always went huge on Christmas. Expensive decorations, parties, the whole 9 yards. 20 gifts per kids. I know. I'm sorry. I'm actually embarrassed to even admit this. Now I want to put a stop to all of it. My husband is on board. How do I handle my girls? Of course, we're going to pray. Of course, we're going to show them in the Bible the truth and pray and hope that the Spirit helps us out. But how do you explain it to children? Do you have any videos about this? Like,
So-
there are so many things with this, and I'm like, oh, this covers a little bit of everything, and oh, this heart, I hear it, and I'm like, I felt this. So I know how you did it, but I don't know if everybody knows how you did it. So
I think that's amazing. And I think, again, we've been talking about what we're going to kind of work on here next is we're just wrapped up the September show and tell and like what we're going to work on. And we're talking about that because I think there are so many great questions when it comes to the holiday stuff. Halloween's coming up, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, New Year's, right? All those things. And for me, our greatest thing was never that we were just anti any of those things. It was that we started asking the question, why? Why am I involved in this? Why? If I profess to be a follower of Christ and I see clearly that scripture says my life is to look like this, why am I doing this? How can I reconcile this? So for us, it all started with questioning. And then that led us to literally walk away from all of that. And I don't even think I really talked about it much last year. I felt like we talked really heavily about holidays for like a couple years. And then it was just like, all right, like you feel like you're beating a dead horse.
I remember you guys verbally, at least to us, were like, I think we've handled the holidays enough. I don't want to hash it out again this year. But in reality, you could use a refresher and
really could.
Updated version of what you feel, because I bet it's slightly different. The core is still the same. You feel what you feel.
The core is still the same, but you're right, because, we vlogged through those first years when we had quit everything. And a lot of the emotions then were really raw that now don't exist. So I am excited to do that. But I think when it comes to doing this, my as you're reading it, my initial thought was, well, we went cold turkey and just said, like, I literally got so convicted over this because, friend, I'm telling you, over the top expense. I mean, I got paid professionally to plan extravagant Christmas parties, Christmas weddings. Like I did all of that. We have pictures that I could dig up that I would take of our setup, because I'm not a person who would keep gifts under the tree. I put everything out that night. And so our house literally like we have some pictures where I can't even fit everything in the picture because there's and it's ridiculous. I mean, even when we didn't have much money, I would do everything that I could to make sure that it was the most like extravagant thing. It's ridiculous, right? Yeah. So I want to say first, my answer was cold turkey, because I got really convicted. And it was in the fall. So it was like Christmas is around the corner, not this is at the end of the year or something like it. It was just around the corner. I got really convicted. And again, I literally am Miss Merry Christmas. My birthday celebration would be us going out and getting trees, because yes, we had multiples. Sometimes we cut down trees on our own property and did like a little house on the prairie theme. Like, okay, y'all don't even want to know how ridiculous I was. But I, like, in the fall time was like, I can't do this. I'm so unsettled in my spirit. Like I cannot partake in this. And I went to my husband, and thankfully my husband was on the same page. I think he was confused as to what happened to me, but he was like, okay. And then we just went to our kids, and they were younger. Our son, oh, did we figure this out how old they were in that one video? Dang it. Okay. Anyways, I don't really remember exactly what their ages were. It's been a while. But our son, I think, was like 12-ish. And then they kind of went down after that. And so we went to them and talked about it, and we were like, yeah, I just, we just shared openly and honestly with them. I offered to share, resources and things I had found, and we can like walk through stuff and if they had questions. But honestly, our kids were so like, I mean, they had some valid questions like, okay, so they listened to our spiel, and then it was like, so what does that mean? Like, I think they were kind of relieved that they didn't have to endure the moms in Christmas mode. I think was actually more of what I saw. It was like, oh, cool. Like, we don't have to deal with everything being redone, everything having to be perfect. Like, I think they were kind of more so relieved. And I want to talk about this in more videos, kind of as we went through that process and found that many of the things that we enjoyed about quote unquote Christmas had nothing to do with Christmas. It just had to do with family togetherness. But we kind of went just cold turkey. But let me caveat that real quick, because as I was thinking, as you continued to talk, for maybe 2-ish years, maybe before we quit Christmas, I was just feeling really overwhelmed and convicted in a way of minimalism and just simplicity in life across the board. And so I had really started scaling back with our kids just across the board. So in every area, how many toys they kept, how many things we bought, things like that. And our kids really enjoyed it. They enjoyed that they didn't have to feel overwhelmed on birthdays or Christmas or just day-to-day life. If we did something that was impactful and had more value versus just quantity. So our kids really were enjoying the simplification process, but I'm talking like all year round, not just like, yes, it happened on Christmas too, where I only bought like 4 gifts instead of 20 gifts, they got like a pair of pajamas, a toy. Maybe there's 3 things. I don't know. I don't remember what we got, but point was we scaled it down. But again, I still think the deeper part is there, because I feel like if we're coming to this topic of Christmas, trying to look at it biblically and break this down, that we should lead the example of not tightrope walking here, right? That's that line, this problem with the American gospel, where we want to have our cake and eat it too. I want to live in the world and soak up all the goodness and say I'm a Christian, but I still want to hold on to all of this. So it's like, so if we're convicted of Christmas and we don't feel that we should partake in this worldly and Catholic, setup, why are we trying to like limbo balance it? You know what I mean? Is it just, are you just worried about, the kids getting a toy? I know for us, we usually try to, and it kind of just so happened that it was around Christmas time, but wintertime means it's cold outside. The kids do not go outside and play as much. Our kids are outside all the time, but wintertime, that takes a hit because it gets cold here. Like, I'm sorry, nobody want to go play outside when you're frozen all the time. And so we had kind of always used Christmas as like a buy some indoor, type something that's kind of new and fun and exciting for the winter. And so like we talked with our kids and we said, well, we're obviously still going to do that because it has nothing to do, the item has nothing to do with Christmas. It has to do with it's winter and it's cold and you guys are little kids. Like, let's get you something fun that you can do indoors. One year we got them like an indoor trampoline. One year we got them a keyboard, things that they could be doing during that winter time. And so I think if you're just concerned about, if it's something like that where they have an item, I mean, you can still have an item. You don't have to not have an item. There's nothing wrong with giving gifts. Gifts aren't evil. Now, maybe thinking everybody has to have 20 items and you're going into debt and you're spending recklessly and all that other stuff. That's the problem. That's where we get into stuff. But I think if the point is we can't reconcile celebrating Christmas biblically, then the point is we can't reconcile celebrating Christmas biblically. Because on the flip side of it, if I was having an affair and I finally got convicted of my affair and was like, wow, this is bad, I probably shouldn't cheat on my husband, right? Imagine that. I wouldn't sit here and weigh, well, should I tell my, like, should I do this now? Or should I just kind of like date him more, maybe just emotionally and not physically for a while. So that way I'm not, you know what I mean? Like if I talked about, you guys would all be screaming at me, right?
Titrating off of an affair.
Yes.
Like what? But you're right. Nobody would ever go, oh yeah, I totally feel this conviction. I'm going to just titrate off of my affair. I'm going to just titrate.
Just keep them there with you for the next year. Maybe next year you'll be ready to break it off, right? Like
we're talking true convictions. Like
yes.
If you feel truly convicted, that's a breaking point.
Yeah. And so I get that that's like an extreme other example, right? Like obviously not on the same level. I am not saying that celebrating Christmas is a sin and, having an affair is, whatever.
No.
But it's the point of convictions. So when you've hit that conviction and you're there, we would never think to just kind of like, well, maybe I'll just test the water and kind of, tag on and see where we end up. So I think if that's what you're feeling and you're feeling convicted and you want to be done, I say, go for it. I say, be open and honest with your kids and talk about it and see, what are their things that I want to hear my kids' objections. What are their things that they are like, ooh, what about this? What about that? And talk through them and really work through them and get to the heart of it and say, well, why are you upset about not getting that? Maybe they are upset about not getting gifts because they're like, dude, I'm used to making loot on this day. Like, what's up? Like, I want to have this, because then they just reveal the heart issue, because now the heart issue is the idolatry of stuff. And that opens up a whole new area that you need to work through. But that needs to be worked through because that's incredibly important. And I think that the way we go about Christmas and sports and so many different things really just puts this like socially acceptable mask over many heart issues of idolatry. And then they just go on for too long not getting addressed. So hopefully that helps.
So you started by simplifying and minimalizing life.
Yep.
Life. That was step one. You were just simplifying life and minimizing what made you feel yucky.
Yeah, really.
And when it came to Christmas, you got rid of all of the things that instantly made you feel yucky.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, how am I going to, I don't like this. How do I strip it down? I thought of the 4, okay, while you were talking, the 4 Christmas gift rule?
Yes.
You need to read something they need, something they want or to do, and something to wear.
Right. There you go.
Okay. Those are just cold weather things.
No, it really doesn't have to have anything to do with it. I feel like we just do that seasonally anyways, because you run into things you need in a different season.
So my kids read a lot in the winter because it's cold outside and the weather feels lovely. And who doesn't want to snuggle up and read by candlelight and drink hot beverage? Like, come on. That's a lovely atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So they read more and they usually want extra books. We personally take a lot of trips to the library. Something they need. How many times do children grow during the year? It seems that they grow in the spring and they grow in the fall because you need to get different gear. And you're like, oh, snap, your Christmas winter boots don't fit.
Right.
And then you replace that one item.
Mm-hmm.
Something to do because they are stuck inside. Usually our family got like a game. Mm-hmm. Something to do together because you're stuck inside. And then something to wear because it's cold and you need a new sweater or coat. Those are just weather-related things or seasonal things, depending on, and it doesn't matter. Spring, I do this with my children. We do it in the spring, we do it in the fall, because gear
Changes.
depends on the seasons.
Yeah.
So that's what I was hearing that you were naturally doing by minimizing. You just took these things and you were like, oh, these are just seasonal things. They're not actually Christmas. Oh, wait. Why do I have these
We do
weird
this all year long. Why do I have to make this like what? Just because we're not doing Christmas, I have to make sure nobody receives anything, like no grocery order pickups, nothing.
Can't have a fancy meal in the fall because that's
Yeah.
related to Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think too, when you said that, it is funny to think, like, I remember the first year, December 25th felt so weird. It felt so weird because we had been so used to doing something a very specific way for so long. The first couple years felt weird. This past year, I will say that we went to do something. I don't even remember what it was. Like, something went to happen, plans we were making with my mom. I don't even remember what exactly the thing was, but I'm pretty sure it involved my mom too. And we all went, oh, it's Christmas today. That's why no one's anywhere. And but we genuinely all were like, what is the deal? Why can't I find, or why is it? Oh, that's right. Guys, we're going to have to wait till tomorrow. Like, type of a thing, because it really isn't like, it just isn't like a thought. It's not weird anymore. We have a new kind of rhythm and tradition that we go through in the winter, and that isn't, centered around something. So yes, it seemed really weird in the beginning. And was like, oh, this is so weird. Last year, we all totally forgot until we tried to show up somewhere and the doors were closed.
I think I think that's the part that titration is. It's going to be titrated. You're going to feel more intense about it on year 1.
Right.
And then on year 2, you feel a little less. On year 3, you might feel it. That's the titration part. I think that convictions mean stop instantly. If you feel deeply convicted, it means stop instantly. It doesn't mean stop everything instantly. It means stop that thing that you were convicted by. So what of Christmas were you convicted by? Why? What are your children going to say is the reason that they're freaking out over giving up Christmas? It genuinely may surprise you. Well, I thought that meant that we couldn't go and see Grandma. And you're like, whoa.
Let's go see Grandma.
Oh, goodness. Babies, of course we are going to see Grandma. We love Grandma. That's not the thing. Because their heart matters. You should really ask genuinely, what's up? Talk to me, tell me what's going on, and then go from there, because their heart matters too. And they most likely will end up feeling the same kind of convictions. Like, listening to my oldest daughter talk about Christmas, I go, oh, wow. Woo. I did that. But no, it wasn't me. It was just the exposure to it in our home.
Right.
The fact that she now can back up and go, oh, wow, I don't like the way any of this makes me feel. This is disgusting. I really like family, but why are we doing this over here? Oh, so she has this really good discernment about her, because she was exposed to, why are we doing this?
Have any of us paused to even think why we're doing this?
I know it's like tradition and we do it every year, but like, oh, wow, why? Why? I think there's this story, and I can't help but thinking of it. The woman who cuts the ends off of her winter party ham to put it in the oven, and then somebody asks her, well, why do you cut the ends off of the ham? And she goes, oh, I don't know. My mom showed me to do it this way. And so she calls her mom, and her mom goes, oh, that's the way my mom taught me to do it. And they call Grandma, and Grandma goes, oh, because it wouldn't fit in my pan. You put it in the oven. I had to cut the ends off because it had to fit in the pan. And everybody since then had been wasting all this extra stuff because grandma did it that way and mom did it that way. And I just have done it that way. And until the person asked, well, why are we doing it this way?
Why do we gotta lop it off?
I think of that story all the time.
That's great.
Because I don't ever want to take and cut the ends off of my ham and waste it all. Because that's a lot of stuff to be wasting for not knowing why I'm wasting it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's a physical example of emotions and mentally, but
right.
like that's how it feels.
Process.
Yeah. So that's what I end up thinking of. Well, why?
I love that. Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think we'll definitely be doing more on that. So if you guys have any questions, I know Halloween's coming up here with this new month. So, any questions specifically for any of it, we're happy to share. We've kind of been making a list, but I guess we should pause real quick and go pick a winner because as much as I know you guys love hanging out and chit-chatting with us, I know if you're sitting there waiting to see if you're the winner, you want to know if you're the winner. So hello, let's go pick a winner real quick. All right, friends, let's go ahead and pick a winner. Congratulations, Sweet Sugar Roses. You are the winner here with your comment. A huge struggle here is time management and accountability when we do use screen time. Yes, that is so difficult. Some days it seems we waste so much time on games or shows and other important tasks don't get done or dropped or rushed or just try to stay on track for the day. Yes. Wow, that is such a true statement that I'm sure pretty much all of us struggle with. So Sweet Sugar Roses, go ahead and send an email to heavenlymindedhome@gmail.com so that way we can get your information, connect you over with the amazing team at BenQ so that way they can get your Mind Duo 2 lamp shipped out over your way. Thank you all so much for your entries. And of course, any of you who did want to check out this lamp, you can go back to that original video to get that savings discount. But thank you all so much for your comments. I read through all of them. You guys had some great ones there, and we will absolutely be lifting one another up in prayer as dealing with screen time is something we all are going to have to deal with for all of our days. So thank you all so much for joining us, but let's get back to our Q&A. So yay, we have a winner. Congratulations. That's why I said something. You have a super fancy, amazing desk lamp. Will be on the way to you once you reach out to me. So that way we can get you all the stuff, get you all hooked up. Of course, anybody else who still wants one, you can use my discount code because it really is a cool lamp. So you guys do have that. But anyways, super exciting and thankful when we have partners that reach out. And then they were super sweet because they were like, hey, we want to hook up one of your viewers. Like, do you want to do? And I'm like, yes, please. Of course. I always want to pass on the free stuff to you guys, like Avi. Anyways, Christmas, holidays, free lamps. What's next today?
Okay. I have a question. What are your thoughts on people saying that the Bible has been changed or rewritten so many times that we don't even know the original truths? The government and the powers that be all these years have done some pretty awful things in the name of control. So what makes us think that they haven't changed used religion, used religion, especially Christianity, as a tool?
Okay,
this is like a crazy deep question, and yep.
You're like bringing it with the questions today. So let me preface this by saying, jokingly, if she's watching, I know she's going to leave me a comment. I was given the nickname Tinfoil Hat Heidi because if there is someone who wants to run down a rabbit hole or a conspiracy theory, I am like so anti-government, you probably would question some of my own personal thoughts on things. Okay. So I'm just going to throw that out there. We do not, when this can be another topic I know I'll have to get into, we do not get into political side picking things, but if you were going to force me to pick something, I'm a citizen of heaven. But if you're going to make me pick something here, I would say absolutely libertarian, 1,000% across the board. So if you're wanting to know if I'm going to answer this question from a way that is well, the government's not all that bad. That is not me. Okay. I'm just going to say, at the same time, they're not that smart or put together. We can't trust the government worth a lick of anything, pretty much anywhere for anything. And that includes people who work in the government, like a large portion of our own family members. And you're just like, there's no, okay. I think sometimes crazy people on the internet give you guys way too much credit for your ability to have it all together. Now, is Satan at work in all forms of government? Absolutely. They are his minions. He is, I mean, that is his realm. God gives the ability for all who are in power to be in power, but we know that right now Satan is the king of this world and he's running rampant. Okay. So I'm not saying that anybody is evil or satanic or something like that, although I might have my own personal opinions about some of them at least. But is the system big picture thing? Yeah, it's all Satan's dominion right now. Okay. So do I trust any government anywhere for anything? Emphatically, no. Okay. What gets me with this is that so many things are said so ignorantly. And we all are ignorant about certain topics and certain things. Sabrina, while you were here, every time your husband would open his mouth, I was like, man, I am an ignorant person because I know nothing of what you're talking about. You are so much smarter than all of us.
We all have realms that we succeed in, and then we all have areas that we really lack that knowledge. Like there's always somebody smarter in the areas.
And if you're hanging out with your husband, he's the one. So he's just smarter than all of us. But
he's a genius. I think the worst of him, but like America.
He's the best. He's the best. But it was one of those things where I'm like, wow, I am incredibly ignorant in this, so I don't mean that in like a mean way. I mean, in like the true, like there's some things that we're just all ignorant on. And so I think when you actually really start to dig into and understand translations and how they come, we've done a ton of study and digging into this because KJV onlyists are like a dime a dozen these days. And it's so frustrating because it's like what you're saying is so ignorant. Like I know you feel like you know a lot because you've been taught this, you follow these people and they say, look, they've changed everything. And, everybody starts freaking out and you're like, no, like that's not even what it is. Like you have to look at the full spectrum here. Don't just run with, crazy YouTube guy over here and think you've got the whole thing understood. And so when you really dig into just how many copies of scripture that we have and how far back these things date to. And I mean, there's literally so many pieces to this puzzle that every single government all around the world for all of time would have had to have this like perfectly orchestrated system that's like supernatural, that transcends time to like completely goof the whole thing up. Okay. But yet somehow it still harmonizes. Somehow it still backs up to all the fragment. You know what I mean? Like you put all these things together, you're like, okay, well, that's clearly not it. Now, does Satan do stuff to try to distort truth? Absolutely. Of course he does. We've seen, the fact that the King James translation was ordered by the government, like red flags, anyone? But by their own account, they say when you read, I know I'm just picking King James because this is an easy one, but they were ordered by the government of that day. And even in their own notes, which you can go read that they wrote, they even state, hey, we had to take some liberties in some of these where it said this, and because translating is not an easy thing. It's not just a simple one and done thing. And they flat out say, we had to take some liberties and this is what we went with, or this is what we did. Then you look at it now and a little more cut and you're like, why is that what you went with? Like, that's probably not the best way to do that. But even they say, hey, it's open to subjection, but we did this. So, that's their own omissions. And again, coming from a government system. So are there reasons for the different translations and the things we have? The only inspired inerrant word was the original word. That's the original Aramaic, Greek, and Hebrew. Like, that's the only inspired text that we have. Everything else that we are using, so unless you're reading ancient Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic, like anything you're reading has been translated. Are there reasons why some quirks in some translations you go, that's interesting. Why did you use that word? If the original word was this, why did you go with this? Are there things that have been done that have been tweaked and adjusted? I mean, you look at like the Jehovah's Witness Bible, the Mormon, you look at these different things they use and you're like, there's a world of issues in there. The Passion Translation, the Message, which shouldn't even be an actual Bible. But you go into those different ones and you're like, oh yeah, we can break apart for days, things that are in here that should not be in here. But for the overall kind of standard of English translation, King James, New King James, English Standard, NASB, LSB, right? You kind of go through some of these different ones. You can trace back to the original writing, where I'm talking thousands of manuscripts of this, and it all stacks up. It all lines up. So do I think that all of our governments were able to somehow succeed in this big cohesive plan? No, I think they're too dumb for that. Do I think God would leave us his word that has been completely corrupted and none of it's, yes, this is Satan's playground, but God's the one giving permission. Why on earth would his own word that is still completely cohesive, completely solid, completely, all of that, I don't see how that adds up. Matt Whitman, 10-Minute Bible Hour here on YouTube. We love him. He cracks us up. But he does some great videos on why different translations. And that my husband's taught on this in church and with our kids' Bible classes that we do in the co-op, and kind of work through that. I think the more that you truly do study into translations and the why and the how and where did they come from, the more you really educate yourself, and not from a one-sided argument, right? If I'm KJV only and I only get educated by people who are KJV only, that's ignorance, because you're not looking across the board, right? So if you really dig into something, right? Like if I want to prove that drinking, rum first thing in the morning is the best decision I can make, and so I only research through people who are promoting my drinking rum first thing in the morning as being a good decision, I'm going to come out of it feeling like, man, I'm making great decisions. This is on point. But it would take talking to literally one sane human on the side to be like, that is a horrible idea, especially as a Christian. Like, what is wrong with you? Right? That would be really simple. And so I think the more you do dig into it and you look at it, you really do see, are there some things that we should stay away from because they have some big red flags in them? Yes, absolutely. But for the most part, our core translations, I think we should always look at multiple translations and harmonize things, because there's different pros and cons to all of them. And I think they are absolutely trustworthy and all that we need in our walk with the Lord.
So, do you use more than one translation to check against what they all say?
I personally do. Yeah, we well, it's right here on the bookshelf, but my husband has a Bible in he even has some of the heretical ones, because he goes, see, let's look at the difference here. I mean, my husband's read the Satanic Bible before, and I'm not suggesting that anybody goes and does that, but he was like, no, if I'm going to be able to teach on this, I need to know what it says. And that's a whole side note, but our son, when he was younger, he wanted to start a collection of all the different types of Bibles. And so whenever we're in thrift stores and stuff, we're constantly picking up Bibles. And so I do love that. I have my apps and things like that too that I can pull up, but we quite frequently will pull out multiple Bibles. And I want to see this. You guys who did our biblical womanhood study, we look at it. Here's our focus passage, and here's it in 5 different translations, right? So like, how does it use the word here versus here versus here versus here versus here? And then what was the original Greek, right? And then you listen to it in the original Greek and you're like, I see how you could use 5 different words for this one Greek word because you're trying to capture something that we just don't have in our English language.
So I wrote down that when you use only one translation, you are too zoomed in to what that one translation says. And when you multiply your translations and you check, you got a table full of Bibles and you're literally reading one verse after the next in the same verse in each Bible.
Right.
You get a wider, zoomed out view of what it could have meant because of in the front of your Bible, it will talk about the council of elders who put that Bible together.
Yeah.
All the Bibles have this. You can literally see who the council of people were who put your Bible together. And then you can look up that council and you can research that council. If you feel that you are being misled by something specific, look up your council on who wrote the Bible, because they had that was who the person who put the study parts together or the versions report to. If you feel that convicted about it, like, do your due diligence and look it up. But they're all going to have somebody who was like, hey, I'm the person who put this together.
Yeah, and I think to say that any one translation, because that's what they all are, the only inerrant word of God, like this is his inspired word, was what was written in the original languages. That's it, right? So the original Greek word, the original Hebrew word, the original Aramaic word, like that's the inspired word, like individual words. So to claim that any one translation holds all the power and all the cards, to me is ludicrous. Like that just doesn't check out in anything because that makes man infallible because man put that together. Do I think God definitely directed and guided and blessed, and that's why we can have scripture written in every language for every people throughout all of the land? 1,000% yes. But to claim that one person holds all of the, like when I get comments from Catholics and they're like, have you thought about joining the church? And I'm like, yeah, no. Right? Like, but it's like when you claim to hold the thing, none of us hold the thing, right? There's discernment. Yeah. So, I mean, we should all be doing that. That's not, that's just the common sense layer of it. But to claim that you hold, or this Bible holds the only truth to it all, to me is just kind of ludicrous.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a really easy question next.
Okay. Because I'm like, man, we're already at like almost an hour. We've done 2 questions.
I know.
2 questions.
I got a really good one.
Okay.
Do you film modest Christian clothing hauls?
Oh,
what do you feel about hauls?
My first thought was I cannot wait to come up with the title for this video because we have hit such a spectrum of things. This is fantastic. Okay. I have done a few in 5 years, 5-ish, whatever long, like sharing my wardrobe or we went thrifting or something. I have done some. To be honest, I always really felt, okay, I've said it before, I don't really watch YouTube. So I don't know if I've ever watched a haul video ever before. So maybe I'm the last person on the internet to say that, but I don't think I've ever actually watched one. I know of them, and I feel like I am the most simplistic, like basic, laid back girl in the whole wide world that I just felt like I was the wrong person to do that. I don't even brush my own hair. I only keep up on my nails because my husband likes it. I will wear the same thing. It can cost no, like when people do like the one dress challenge, I'm like, "Oh, I would love to do that." I would wear the same thing every day until the threads gave out and I was naked. Like I am that person. When we would go back in the day, my husband loved shopping. When we would go to malls, I would be sitting out on the bench with the old men, like falling asleep and taking a nap. So I guess I always just felt like I was the wrong person for that because I'm the most like
You
anti.
you are the wrong person.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. You're the wrong person. Do not come to Heidi for a haul because she's so minimalistic that she is like, guys,
Here's one black dress. Here's two black dress.
and she's going to be like the anti-haul person who is like, here is all the stuff that I am donating. That is who you come, like Heidi's who you go to for that. You are
Yeah.
not going to get a lot of, here's all the stuff I bought, because Heidi doesn't do that. Like I went to thrift stores with her. I did the shopping. I did the grocery shop. I did it all.
Yeah.
Oh, you did. You got a lovely blue dress with flowers on it.
Yeah.
But like that was it. So the haul would be, I got a dress. It was $4.
Yeah, and that's where
That's
I
not a
think
big
maybe
deal.
something could be done. Like usually twice a year, I will swap out some clothes or maybe go to the thrift store and get a couple, every other year I'll usually go to the thrift store and get a couple new things. And last year I didn't get new things. So this year I just some things get worn out. Just kind of where I work out like in our farm chores in a dress. And so I get holes and things. And my husband laughs at me because he's like, you want to go change? I'm like, it's fine. Who cares? I'm not worried about it. And then I end up, whatever. And I'll keep wearing it even with holes in it. But usually my husband's like, why don't we get you a new dress? Like, maybe you should just spend $5 on yourself because he knows I won't spend more than that. Like my $20 dress that he got me. Wild. But yeah, I feel bad. Like I'm just kind of like the bad version of that. I do know we do have some videos shown the dresses I have or what I have, but it's very minimal. It's very simple. I could never link anything because I only shop at thrift stores, which I get sucks because I do get comments from y'all often. You're like, oh, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? I'm like, a thrift store? I don't know. And so I've tried to research some of them. Like, I think it originally came from this store, but like, best of luck to you. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like you all would be wildly disappointed in me.
You could show like, this is what I wear in a week, but a
Mhm.
haul. If you're looking for a haul video,
Yeah.
this is the wrong place. I'm so sorry.
And honestly, everything that you see me wearing in the daily video, like that is all that I own.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I don't like having to put laundry away. That's like genuine. Like I don't like spending money on it in the first place. And I don't like putting laundry away. So I was like, I mean, if I could have 3 complete outfits, like 3 dresses and call it quits, I would. And the only reason I have more than that is my husband's like, maybe you should have a little bit more. Like he would prefer to maybe see. I would buy the same dress and just buy 3 of them and be like, done.
That's what I pictured. I pictured like the Steve Jobs uniform.
Yeah,
where,
I love that.
like,
Mark Zuckerberg, I'm like, oh, dude.
Oh, yeah. You're like, this is my uniform.
Yep.
But you can't buy that at a thrift. You can't buy 3 of anything at a thrift store.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, and I'll even say, and this isn't even like a frugal thing necessarily, because I've always been this way. Back in the day, having a business, making stupid money, all of the stuff, on my work days when I was like designing, and wedding designing is dirty work. I had jeans and I made company t-shirts. So every time you saw me while I was in installation mode or I was designing or whatever, jeans, business t-shirt. Everybody, we had a uniform. That's what we wore. Find me in one of my shirts. If it was, oops, I didn't turn off my notifications. I'm so sorry. If it was outside of that, it was because I was actively coordinating or working a wedding and I was in a black dress. That was, and usually like some cute flats or something, but it was either jeans and my black logoed company t-shirt or a black dress. That was what you got.
At heart, you really have always been a minimalist. You just had 2 looks and you just rotated between those 2 looks.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
Yeah.
This is my work look. This is my outlook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I've kind of always been not the best at that, which I mean, I'm fine with, like, I'm not worried about it. Like, but I do kind of feel bad sometimes when like people have asked before and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to disappoint you. I'm so sorry.
I think we could do one more question.
Okay, let's do it.
How many hours a day do you homeschool?
Oh, wow.
Now I know that you have two kind of answers for this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to need, how long do you do traditional book work, table, the way people think of homeschool? How many hours a day do you do that version of homeschool? And then how many hours a day do you homeschool?
So I feel like I'm just going to disappoint everybody here again. I
hear the song Getting to Know You, but
yeah.
like, y'all, this is
Getting to know you, getting to know all about. Anyways,
yeah. But like,
I text your husband a GIF the other day, Hakuna Matata, and then I was like, and then I sent him a follow-up GIF, and then I was like singing it all day, and I was like, oh man, I created my own problem.
He totally was singing that song while we were going out, and he's like, "Oh, Heidi!"
Yeah,
So,
sorry, not sorry. Okay, so we kind of had school start up and I was really busy because we were putting everything out for our co-op, and then all of our YouTube stuff has been like just bananas, and then we just have a lot going on with everything that we're doing, and we're really unschoolers at heart anyways. I would say as far as like sitting down book work type things, my kids take our Heavenly Minded Homeschool Academy co-op classes. So they each have a couple hours a day that they are in.
we'll link it up there.
We'll link it up there. Sorry. I have kids out the door. I'm like, can you hear the kids at the door?
Like, yeah, just a little bit. But we'll link
the co-op stuff. Because I point and that's how she knows where to put things. Because I'm standing there going, Sabrina, right here. You'll really see this one. So they do co-op classes. And so they usually have a couple hours per day that they're doing some sort of class, be it reading, be it Bible, be it art or something fun. Because they take a handful of classes, each of them. And then we usually have maybe 30 minutes outside of class that where, you know, if I'm helping them with what they have for class, or we're going over it or doing their reading or whatever it is. So we do that. And that's kind of all that we do as far as like a formal sit down, like study. We don't really do anything outside of that. Like we have our own family Bible studies and things that we do. We have our own things that we run into, right? Like I budget with my kids. We do grocery shopping with the kids. We do home projects, farm projects. We do all of that together. Right now, my daughter's been working hard. We have a sick turkey, and we're trying to figure out why it's sick, how it got sick, how to keep the chickens from getting sick, how to help the turkey. So my daughter can tell you a lot of things about what you can learn about a turkey through their poo. I've got a lot of knowledge going on right now. Right now, we have hit the yellow poo stage. And so actually, once I finish this, we have a treatment that we're got to go to administer to a sick turkey. So there's lots of learning going on, but we prefer to focus on just a rich environment where we foster curiosity and adventure. And I want my kids to go explore. I want them to pursue things they're interested in. I want them to ask questions. And then we're there more so to just support the searching for the answers to the questions and discerning through the information that we find. And so, I mean, some days I've had days where my son and my husband have gotten into a theological discussion of something or rather, and they're at the table for 4 hours just with Bibles open and all the things going round and round. And it's like, well, y'all are clocking in 4 hours of schoolwork for Bible today. You know, other days we do our reading, do our study. It's 20 minutes, and that's really all we do for that day. So I think it kind of just depends. But yeah, if you wanted to clock in like book work time, really the only like solid clock in time I could get would be if we tracked like their co-op time. Whereas everything else is more so just as we find it and as we explore and adventure and, kind of just do whatever it is that we're doing that day. And, kind of work through it from there. I talk finances with my kids. I talk taxes with my kids. I talk mortgages and loans. I mean, we talk about, I love talking about all the things. I talk about, why I do not promote college, why I am not focused on career, why I don't think the most important thing is to be another cog in the machine. So, I mean, do we have lots of big, deep things like that? Yeah. But not that we don't ever use books, of course we do, but that's just not like, it's not just a curriculum. It's not just a worksheet. It's not just a report or something. They're constant discussions. We live out the example. We share with them where we are winning and where we're failing, and allow them, our 19-year-old now, he's got some different things that he's looking at. And so he comes to us for counsel, and we discuss and run models and projections and, things like that, because I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to numbers. So I'm like, yes, I'll give you all the information. And I teach him through it so he understands where it's all coming from, so that way he can make the most informed decisions, for himself. But yeah, sit down, clocking in book work, outside of co-op, things that I'm doing with them, maybe 30 minutes.
So they do have sit down study time, because as children, they need to be reminded that studying is pleasant, because it's not a hard study that they're doing. It's just learning. But then they learn all day long.
Yeah. And so book time, sit down, study time may happen through that, where, like I said, we're sitting down researching for a sick turkey, or this kid wants to build this, or we're interested. Like, so those things might happen, but they're just very fluid and organic throughout our days, versus like, okay, we've had period of times, you guys can go back and watch our vlogs. We've had period of times where maybe we were a little more structured, but now with all the kids getting a little bit older, we've really focused on their discernment and self-discipline and self-motivation and those things. And so now I kind of just let them run wild, and I just encourage them along the way.
That's a good way to do it.
It seems to work. They seem like they're turning into decent little humans. So
they are. Like, I know that's not the typical answer that people would expect.
Yeah.
But it is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You do, like, when I came out in the morning, your children sometimes were in research mode, where they had like all the things scattered all over the table, and they were like watching tutorials on how to put this thing together and how to make it work and how to pull it apart. And they were doing this just naturally. So they were in research mode naturally, just on their own, without any guidance or, hey, you should probably go learn about blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
I kind of think that's all the time we have for questions.
We did get through a few. And so next week we'll be doing members questions. So again, all you members, you come and join us for that. I'll probably put a post up in our private community group. So if you guys have anything specific you'd like to add to the list, Sabrina will gather any of the questions posted in YouTube comments that are from members. And so we'll do the live with you guys at noon next Saturday. So I just have it set up in my phone for Saturday of every month to just like auto repeat. So that way I've got that time kind of set down. We'll grab our coffees or teas or whatever and sit down with you guys, kind of fill you in. Of course, you all just watching this, you guys are going to have last month's live Q&A that you guys can come and watch, because there's still great content, that's added into all of it. It's just fun. I enjoy that kind of live aspect where you guys can comment as we go and we can kind of chit chat together a little bit, which is really super fun. But you guys have the best questions. And if ever you guys want to see your question answered in one of these, you guys can just leave that little coffee cup emoji right in the post, and Sabrina gathers them all up so that we can do this. And I don't know, maybe I'll get a little quicker. I always want to talk about all the things, but maybe like once a month we can do like rapid fire or something where you can gather up all of the ones that are a little bit more like
Yes.
Not as deep, maybe, just to like get more in, because I think there are so many great questions on the channel. We do like rapid fire week. But
I like that
anyways,
idea.
yeah, I think that'd be a good one. So, Sabrina, I am mad at you because you're on the wrong side of the country and you should be out here and you're not, but I will still enjoy my pretty teacup while you enjoy yours. We've got our cozy sweaters on. You guys, get your sweaters, get your teacups, come join us. We're going to have a great time, and we will see you, of course, with tomorrow. We have a special video, and then back next Saturday in our Members Live Q&A. So, bye, friends.
Bye.